Space!
Yes, we have slipped the surly bonds of Earth, and it's true what the great man said, there is no sign of capitalism here. This is Chapter 2 of Ancient Aliens, called Applied Einstein, and this is the first level, or the 11th, depending on how you look at it, called On the Origin of Species. And yes, that is the actual title, it's not just my accent. So, being the first level of a new chapter, we're back to just a pistol. Fortunately, this map is pretty generous with handing out weapons, and it won't be long until you've got a shotgun and a chain gun, which is nice. Finding sufficient ammo for them is more of a problem, however. This will be your first encounter with a completely new foe, these trooper-type enemies that can turn invisible-ish and shoot plasma bolts. They're pretty weak, they die easily, but they can move quickly and their plasma hurts, even if they can't shoot it as fast as an arachnotron, and thank God for that. There's a really nifty bit in this level where you fly a saucer to the moon and back again. Obviously it's not presented in a cinematic way, but it's a really clever use of both the Doom engine and environmental storytelling. Flick this switch and the display shifts, indicating that you have apparently travelled almost instantaneously to the moon. And pillars shift, meaning you can only access the teleporter from the other side. The fact that stepping on a teleporter pad from a different direction can take you to an alternative location is not a feature that's often utilised in Doom, but I think it's really rather cool. Anyway, there's a rocket launcher on the moon, which is good, and a secret leading to a supercharge, which is better. More importantly, perhaps, there's also a switch that lowers the red key back on the main space station. Kind of an odd design choice to put a switch solely responsible for lowering a small pillar by a few meters on a moon thousands of miles away, but hey, they are aliens. They probably operate on a higher logic. With the red key in hand, there's one more surprise, another new enemy type. These guys are kind of like lost souls that can't charge but can shoot revenant rockets, which I'm sure you'll agree is much, much worse. And yes, some of the rockets have homing capabilities. Fortunately, these things also don't take much to kill, but nevertheless, I really did not need more enemies shooting rockets at my face, particularly ones that can track me. And it's good that they don't take much to kill, because by the end of the level I have no ammo other than a few rockets. This could be an issue. Level 12, Magenta Heat. Cool name, even cooler soundtrack. Good stuff. As for the level itself, it's pretty compact and straightforward, but the ammo issues still persist. There aren't any really strong enemies here, apart from an archvile at the end, but I didn't have the ammo to dispatch them with ease. A few times I found myself running around with just the chainsaw and a few rockets, and rockets are not ideal for a level with such tight spaces, unless you've got a suicidal bent, and for me at least, things aren't that bad yet. What this level does best is showcase just how nasty the new invisible plasma shooting troopers can be. Yeah, they die easily, but just hitting them can be tough when you're in close quarters and they can run rings around you. And their plasma seriously hurts. I'm not entirely sure, but it feels like they're stronger than the arachnotron's plasma bolts. Either way, fragile as they are, these things are a true threat in numbers, and the sound of their invisibility cloaks starts to really induce some anxiety. And actually, speaking of sound effects, those introduced with the two new enemies are really top notch. They both sound genuinely scary, and they're a welcome addition to the Doom soundscape. Well, no, welcome is not quite the right word, but they sure are effective. Anyway, this is a quick level that I nevertheless leave once again with minimal ammo, even though I'm now making a habit of doing a run through of each map before I exit, just to make sure I'm not missing any bullets or shells or whatever. I really need to start aiming better. On to level 13, Polychromatic Terrace. And indeed this level contains terraces of several colours, so at least it's honest. There's a megasphere you can see right from the start, tantalisingly out of reach. No doubt getting it will require uncovering some complex devious secret. Or not? There's actually not one but two teleporters right out in the open that will take you right to it immediately. I don't like looking gift megaspheres in the mouth, and yes, if you look closely they do indeed have horrible demonic mouths, but on this rare occasion I'm going to exercise some restraint and leave it where it is for now, on the assumption that I'll be needing it later, and that's a pretty damn safe assumption. Like a lot of levels so far, this is a compact, dense map centered around a reasonably large open space, with the 3 keys hidden in various alcoves off in different directions. It would be possible to criticize Ancient Aliens for perhaps overusing this general structure, but honestly I don't personally think it would be warranted. For one thing, when well crafted, it's just a good structure for fundamental Doom gameplay, and these maps are well crafted indeed. This one in particular demonstrates how to keep a map interesting by including intersecting pathways and letting you see it from different angles, for instance when you get to teleport above the main arena and jump down to the blue key. That's one of the last parts of the level, however. In the meantime, the traps are as diabolical as ever. There's the obligatory Archvile trap, but true to form, it's not the Archvile that's so dangerous, it's those damn annoying invisibility soldiers. This is a real showcase of the risk they pose at close range, and now their fragility is offset by the fact that there's an Archvile standing by to resurrect them. There's another lone Archvile a little further on that's much easier to deal with, particularly if you utilise the peekaboo strategy, which I guess proves that Archviles have the object permanence of a baby. When you nab the yellow key, pretty much the whole map floods with new enemies, and once again a lack of ammo became my biggest concern, so the run around madly strategy made its not so triumphant return. Unfortunately, help was at hand in the form of a plasma rifle and a relatively generous helping of cells. Of course I had to use most of those cells to eliminate the hell spawn guarding them, but I think I still came out at a profit, which in Doom is something of a miracle. One last room and a megasphere, so you know agony approaches. Actually, this time it's just imps, but quite a lot of them, and from all directions. The rocket launcher makes short work of them, but the splash damage also makes short work of all that health and armor I had 3 seconds ago. But my patience has paid off. With the path to the exit clear, I can finally head back and get that other megasphere right near the start, and I get to start the next level with full health and armor, which almost never happens. I even have some ammo. Not much, but some. How long will it last in level 14, Blazing Boulevard? This is a relatively simple and straightforward level that is nevertheless particularly nasty. The enemy count isn't massively high, but the enemies that are here are placed with lethal intent, an intent that is fulfilled multiple times as I hit the quick load button frequently within a very short time span. Everything is set up to ambush you, and the first of these ambushes is one of the nastiest. Hello, Archvile. Goodbye, Archvile. It's not the nastiest ambush in the level though. That would be the one that comes immediately after. There's another Archvile, because of course there is, but once again it's those damn invisibility soldiers that prove they can punch well above their weight. When they come from multiple directions, as they do here, and when there are other bigger enemies to distract you, as there are here, they can absolutely decimate your health. I'm honestly considering them as one of the biggest threats in the game at this point. The other new enemy, the floating rocket launching polyhedrons, are also starting to demonstrate their worth, also their wrath. Turns out they explode when they die with a force that would make a cyber demon nod in admiration. And that cycle of ambushes is basically how the rest of the level plays out. Pick up thing, get ambushed. Flick switch, get ambushed. Contemplate the futility of existence, get ambushed. As an upside though, health and ammo is seemingly more plentiful than it has been thus far. There are quite a few cells and rockets lying around, although their abundance causes me to throw caution to the wind, or the deep void of space in this case, and by the time the level's over I don't really have that much to show for it. At least my armor and health level is healthy. Level 15, Wormhole Junction. This is one of the reasons I say I feel like this MegaWAD was designed with a pistol start in mind. There's no other real reason to just dump a load of weapons on you right at the start of a level. But at least these weapons have ammo in them, and that's a hot commodity right now. As the plethora of weapons suggests, this level gets going pretty damn quickly. The run around madly strategy is back once again, but this time it doesn't really pay off. Okay, let's call that one a reconnaissance venture. And as far as gathering intel goes, it was pretty damn helpful. There's a lot of death and destruction waiting for me down there, so maybe I'll just hang around up here to do some murdering first. But that can only last so long. Once more onto the breach. The key to this level is finding a safe spot to regroup, a sort of base camp from which you can launch sorties into enemy territory. This is not a safe spot. Yeesh, that sound. Once again I nearly had a real-life fatality in the form of a heart attack. Once you get the blue key, a couple of options open up. I went for the red key next. You need to shoot a couple of targets to reactivate the elevator here, and... what's this? A well-hidden secret third switch? I wonder what that does. And then... I seem to have backed into a secret teleporter as I was bravely hiding from, well, anything and everything. Climb the steps and... oh yeah, this is map 15, huh? And as any Doom aficionado knows, that means it's secret level time. But is it really? While I am sorely tempted to just take advantage of this fortuitous bit of secret finding, I can't leave level 15 behind just yet. I mean, I'm not going for 100%, but the whole purpose of this video is to showcase what Ancient Aliens has to offer, and I can't shirk too much of that duty. So back to the carnage in level 15. As you can probably tell, this is yet another map that's based around a central area that progressively floods with enemies. Except this isn't so much a flood as it is a cataclysmic tidal wave. But in some ways it's not as bad as it seems. There's loads of health and armor around, and the Spider Mastermind is actually kind of helpful when it comes to friendly fire. And I somehow managed to trap the Cyber Demon behind raising platforms, so while he could snipe at me from time to time, I didn't have to face the prospect of turning a corner to find myself staring down the gullet of that arm-mounted monstrosity of a rocket launcher. This is also another map that knows how to put an archvile to good use. When they get together and start chain resurrecting invisibility soldiers faster than you can kill them, you know they're doing their job properly. I hope they get their just rewards in hell, which is where I am keen to send them. Those floating polyhedrons are also a real menace here. Sure, they die quicker than revenants, but the fact they can fly means they can track you down and sneak up on you pretty much wherever you are, and their rockets hit just as hard. Ultimately though, there's enough health and ammo to make this level doable, but once a freaking again, I still find ways to lose most of it before I finally deem the level complete enough and duck into the secret exit. Which takes us, naturally enough, to the secret level, Grey Dwarf. A nod to legendary British sitcom Red Dwarf?
Sensational.
Possibly, a giant starship is a prominent element in both. This level was actually designed not by Skillsaw, but by Stewboy, who did the music for this MegaWAD. And given how excellent the music is and how clearly talented Stewboy must be, I hesitate to criticise, but I have to be at least somewhat objective and say this secret level is kind of disappointing. It's not bad by any means, the layout is intricate and fairly well designed, and thematically it's on point, but as an environment it's rather sparse and uninspired compared to what's come before. As far as spaceships go, it's a big one. It consists of a lot of tight, winding corridors linked by ducts and elevators and walkways. It's not really the most compelling of environments to explore, but it is packed with secrets, and the darkness and frequent blind corners and restricted spaces make it a genuinely tense experience at times, especially when all is quiet except for that horrible, chuckling, otherworldly sound of a nearby archvile. When combat does start, however, it's not the most exciting set of encounters in the game, as the level isn't really designed for it. It's more about scurrying through air ducts in a way that is oddly reminiscent of Alien. The film, that is. And I guess that's pretty appropriate for a MegaWAD called Ancient Aliens. So yeah, it's not the most interesting level, but you are going to want to hunt down the fairly simple secret leading to the yellow key, because with that you can open the way to the super secret level Ossuarium Exoterrae, or something. I think it translates roughly to Place of Alien Bones. I'm not going to check though. It would certainly be appropriate though, there's a lot of bones here, and not just because there are loads of revenants. I mean, loads of revenants is pretty much a given in any modern Doom level, they're unremarkable. In the context of the rest of this MegaWAD however, the aesthetic here is unique. This is a classic Doom Hell Citadel, and the eponymous bone motif adorns many of its walls. It's a relatively small, tightly packed level that perhaps is kind of unremarkable, but here amidst the cosmic adventures of Ancient Aliens, it feels like a nice change, a breath of fresh air, or maybe acrid sulphurous air, but any air at all is a bonus after spending so much time in space. The threats you'll face here aren't that different though. There are several archviles in annoying spots, because of course there are, and the invisibility soldiers gave me yet another reminder of how they can mince your health faster than just about anything else, if you're too slow or inaccurate. But ultimately it's a quick and simple and fun level, and it's a nice diversion before we head back into outer space with level 16, Leave Your Soul Behind. That's soul as in, you know, Sol, S-O-L, the name of our sun. So I guess the implication is we're heading to another star system. Having played so much No Man's Sky lately, I kind of miss the cool warping graphics. Nevertheless, here we are, and what a great level this is. Unfortunately, it's also a level where I forgot to hit record in OBS for a while, so I missed out the first section of the map. I'll do a quick pistol start so you can at least see a bit of it. And that's why I don't do pistol starts. I need all the help I can get. But yeah, it's a big circular area with branching pathways that will eventually take you to the showpiece of this level, an alien spacecraft. And I guess they left the keys in the ignition because we're off to parts unknown. Either that or Doomguy is incredibly good at hotwiring exotic engines. Remember what I said a minute ago about missing No Man's Sky's cool warping graphics? Well, here's the Doom version of them. We're once again off to another world, this time a frozen icy fortress. It's another shift in tone and one that really works in context. Plus it's very rare to see a Doom level that contains two such completely different environments. But actually this level doesn't contain two different environments, it's got three. Once you find the red key here, you can head back to the spaceship and zoom off to another planet. This one's scorched in a searing heat of smoke and lava. This place is even nastier than the Frost planet, although the main challenge is doing things quick enough that your hazmat suit lasts long enough to keep you safe from the significant environmental damage. Rockets are plentiful here, which is nice, although I actually found myself at times wishing I had a weapon that wasn't going to turn my intestines into out-testines if I fired it too close to me. Sadly though, that's something that's going to happen anyway in the next section, once you return your stolen spaceship to its point of origin. Because there are 4 cyberdemons just hanging out on their separate platforms, waiting for you to enter their line of sight. Fortunately there are 4 teleporters nearby, each of them allowing you to telefrag one of the big bastards. But getting to those teleporters is no mean feat, given how many enemies make this small building their home. I died many times here trying to make it to the teleporters and basically just clear out some space to fight in, but eventually it was done. More through luck and persistence than any skill on my part, and the way to the exit was clear. Time for text. It's not particularly illuminating, it just suggests that we're somewhere alien and unwelcoming, and honestly I pretty much already knew that. Level 17. Daylight under a dark soul. Very poetic. We're back on terra firma now, except this definitely isn't Terra. There is plenty of terror though. Okay, that joke doesn't work unless you see it written down. It's like terra, Latin for earth, and terror, a state of intense fear. Okay, now I've explained that and everyone is absolutely pissing themselves laughing while simultaneously being in awe of my incredible wit. Time to move on to the actual level. This is some sort of alien fortress and a well-defended one. It's another really solidly designed level, grounded and with a great sense of space. This really is the sort of place you can imagine a bunch of evil aliens hanging out in, planning their invasions and studying all that data they got from probing human asses. You run into not one but 2 cyberdemons quite quickly, and the eternal question poses itself. Take the time, effort and risks to kill them now, or let them live and accept the fact that for the rest of the level you're going to be facing the prospect of getting sniped by rockets. It's probably not sensible, but I take the second option. What's the worst that can happen? Oh yeah, that. I mean, obviously that. Probably won't happen again though. Okay, you know what? That's enough incredibly predictable rocket deaths. The rest can get cut out in the edit. And yes, there were plenty of others. So having elected in my eternal mercy to let the cyberdemons live, for now the main objective becomes finding a space where you can actually kill some of the other stuff from relative safety. This proves to be a good spot to stand while pumping rockets into a wall of alien flesh, and the ammo supplies are generous enough to do some serious damage when you get the chance. But not quite generous enough to make the final massive battle in the level a cakewalk. There are loads of cells, but there are also 2 additional cyberdemons, and the first 2 can enter the fray if they haven't finally succumbed. And there's an archvile. Time to make a tactical retreat, although I don't know if it counts as a retreat if you're technically advancing into the next level. Whatever. Don't hate me because I'm a coward. Hate me for one of the other far more valid reasons. Level 18, Illuminati revealed. And this is flat out one of the best maps in the MegaWAD. It's another map with a gimmick, and a particularly awesome one. Shoot the button to commence the madness, and you hear a voice. Reverse it and you hear this.
This power is irrefutable proof for ancient aliens.
A nod to the whole Ancient Aliens nonsense that this MegaWAD is based on. What we've got in this level is a pyramid topped by an Illuminati symbol that spawns in a steady infinite stream of new monsters, rather akin to the boss of Doom 2. I'm not sure if there are actually infinite monsters or if the game is pulling off a trick like the level Arachnotron Arrival from the previous chapter of just teleporting in monsters from elsewhere, but either way it's a really neat trick, particularly with the way this level is set out. The whole effect is to create an atmosphere of ratcheting tension and the sense that you really need to get things done quickly lest you be overwhelmed. That being the case, I'm going to do something I wouldn't normally dare to do and try to complete this level without saving. I really do think it's the best way to play this level, even for a coward like me who is particularly averse to being forced to repeat stuff. If you do it this way and commit to getting the level done as fast as possible without regard to your kill count, it's massively fun. It's like a quick and simple single segment speedrun. And like a speedrun, you go through several phases. First you learn the layout, then you refine your route and maximise your efficiency, figuring out where you can cut corners and where you're better off sacrificing time for extra health or ammo. And then you look for the big shortcuts, intentional or otherwise, ways to break the game and make your job easier. And finally you try to put it all together for that one perfect run. Of course, what constitutes perfect for me in this level is actually anything but. I'm not seeking perfection, I don't even care what my time is, I just want to get out of here, and the best way to do that happens to be going quickly. So it was my intention to do this level without saving. Unfortunately, it was also my intention to do other stuff today rather than just sit in front of my PC trying and failing to do the same Doom level over and over. Most of the level is doable even for one of my skill level, but the Cyber Demon near the end surrounded by a horde of Hell Knights was something I had to be lucky to get past, and on the rare occasions I did, the 4 Archviles immediately after always finished me off. Yes, I could have taken things a bit slower, been a bit more methodical, I could have taken the time to clear out the Hell Knights and Cyber Demon properly, and at least somewhat safely. But man, this whole level just gets the adrenaline pumping so hard that to do so would seem antithetical to the whole experience, where taking your finger off the forward key for even a second feels taboo. Of course, quick saving in the middle also feels wrong, but for the sake of my sanity, I'm willing to take the hit to my ego. I mean, I do it a billion times in every other level. But yeah, for once the guilt is real, but also ignorable. So yeah, great level. And perhaps surprisingly, even though it's only level 18, it's also the last level of the chapter. I managed to escape in a flying saucer, but something seems wrong. And I'm dead. Death is temporary though, and as this text suggests, I'll be back. Back to face the alien hordes on their homeworld. See you soon, I guess.